in all situations of the dominating and the dominated in a colonial situation, I found, or I came to the conclusion that, or I found that the dominating always imposed their language on the dominated. You know, again, why? I kept on asking myself. So this forced me to look again at the whole colonial project. You know, and for me, I saw colonialism really basically as a process of alienation. You know, as a process of alienation. Like the characters in my novel, Weep No Child, the land is taken away. But not only the land, you know, but also the labor of the colonized is also taken away. Very crucial, two crucial resources, land and labor, are colonized. That which belonged to me, that which I had control over, I don't have control over it. Another has control over it. Okay? It's alienation, but in a manner that makes me look at myself and at my resources. You know, I can see my land and the product of my body being controlled by somebody else. You know, but not only that, language itself. Language. What is language doing? Language, of course, is very crucial in the economic, political, and psychological evolution of any community. You know, language mediates the economic, political, psychological processes of any community. You know, without language, I doubt whether we would have even division of labor, which is the basis of human community. You know, for instance, you know, language becomes very, very important. But not just language. Language is also, very importantly, also the carrier of memory. Yeah. Again, without memory, we cannot negotiate our relationship with nature, our relation with one another. We cannot even negotiate, you know, our relation to our own bodies and our own minds. So why then does a colonial power have to impose their language on the colonized? Because in a way, if you get at the language of a people, in a way, you are getting at that which cements the whole economic, political, cultural, social, psychological, you know, aspects of that community. You know, very, very important. And most crucial, you actually, in a way, also control the memory of that community. Very important. Language, indeed, is part of a vast naming system. You name, you own. Or rather, naming, you identify. Naming is a process of owning, because it's only by naming that you identify. You know, and if you identify, you are able to isolate the different elements in one's, you know, environment. You remember, I don't know whether you know the novel, I think it's Robinson Crusoe. You know, where Robinson Crusoe, is shipwrecked on an island, and he discovered somebody called Friday. Okay, and it's assumed in their relationship that Friday has no language, and there comes a moment when Friday, Robinson Crusoe, is teaching Friday language. So the first thing he does, of course, is the naming. Naming. You know, he says, your name is Friday. Note, he does not ask Friday, what is your name? He said, no, your name is Friday. I name you. And my name is Master. Okay? So thereafter, whenever Friday presumably is asked by somebody, who is that man? Oh, he's Master. Okay? So note that it's Friday who names both. It's Crusoe who names Friday and also names himself, and by so doing establishes a certain relationship, between them. Who Friday was? What will be happening here? Friday is planting of Crusoe's memory on the body that now is called Friday. But presumably Friday had a name before. Okay? One, on the body of Friday is planted Crusoic memory. And if Crusoe is an English, what here is getting on the body of Friday is English memory. So his body, from then onwards, carries that memory. Whenever you see him, that is Friday. You don't say that is the person who was there before, whatever he was called. He is now Friday, the one who is named by, I recently went to the year 2003. I was invited by Biko Foundation to give the fourth annual Biko lecture. And I went to, Biko was born in Eastern Cape, an area which has produced Mandela, Mbeki, many of the most important intellectuals in South Africa, and who had a very big impact on the rest of the continent in terms of in every field, where most of them were born in that area. So I'm traveling there, and the first town I come to is called Queenstown. Then there's another one called Kingstown in the same area. Then I go to another one, Williamstown or something, I come to a town called Berlin, Frankfurt, the street's name are the same. And I'm looking around to see a name that somehow or other that tells me about any of these giants of African thought who has come from that area. Nothing. The memory of place, the memory of what was, the memory of what had been produced, that memory is buried by another. Presumably that place had names, and not only that, it has produced all those other names, but those names, the memory of place buried under a European memory.